In the quiet town of Lakewood, where fog clung to the trees like a secret unwilling to fade, Emma Wilson lived a life that looked perfect from the outside. A wooden house, a careful routine, and a husband, Daniel, who provided stability, if not warmth. Every morning, Emma watered her flowers as if they could feel her loneliness. Every evening, she sat across from Daniel at dinner, their conversations reduced to polite fragments. "How was work?" "Busy." "That's good." And silence would follow, heavy and familiar. Emma had stopped expecting more. Everything changed the day Lucas Brown arrived. No one in Lakewood knew much about him. He rented the old cabin near the forest, the one people avoided, and took a job at the town's small library. Emma noticed him immediately, not because he was striking, but because he really looked at people when they spoke. The first time she checked out a book, he asked, "Do you read to escape or to understand?" Emma paused, surprised. "Maybe both," she replied. He smiled, as if that answer meant something important. And somehow, it did. Days turned into weeks, and Emma found herself visiting the library more often than necessary. Their conversations grew longer, deeper, less about books, more about life. She told him things she hadn't said out loud in years, about the quiet distance in her marriage, about the feeling of disappearing in her own life, about the fear that nothing would ever change. Lucas never interrupted, never judged. He simply listened. And for Emma, that was enough to awaken something she thought had died. At home, Daniel remained the same, tired, distracted, distant. He wasn't cruel, just absent in all the ways that mattered. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the windows, Emma tried again. "Do you ever feel like we've drifted?" she asked carefully. Daniel didn't look up from his phone. "We're fine, Emma, just busy." Busy. The word echoed long after the conversation ended. The storm came a few nights later. Wind howled through Lakewood, knocking out the power and plunging everything into darkness. Emma sat alone, wrapped in a blanket, listening to the chaos outside and the emptiness inside. Then, almost without thinking, she stood up. She put on her coat, stepped into the storm, and walked toward Lucas's cabin. When he opened the door, he didn't seem surprised. "I was wondering when you'd come," he said softly. Inside, the fire crackled, casting warm shadows across the room. Emma sat close, her hands trembling, not from the cold, but from everything she had been holding in. "I don't know who I am anymore," she admitted. Lucas watched her carefully. "Maybe," he said, "you're just someone who's been quiet for too long." That night, they talked until the storm faded, and something shifted between them. Something unspoken, undeniable. What followed was not sudden, but inevitable. Stolen moments, lingering glances, conversations that blurred boundaries. Emma knew it was wrong, but it also felt real, and that made it harder to walk away. One night, sitting alone in her garden under a sky full of distant stars, Emma finally faced the truth. This wasn't just about Lucas. It was about the life she had stopped living. The next day, Daniel came home early. He found Emma sitting in silence, her expression unreadable. "Is everything okay?" he asked. She looked at him, really looked for the first time in years. "No," she said. And just like that, everything began to unravel. She told him the truth, not about Lucas, but about herself, about the loneliness, the distance, the years of feeling invisible. Daniel didn't understand at first. Then he got defensive, then angry. But beneath it all, there was something else. Fear. "I didn't know," he said quietly. "You didn't ask," she replied. The conversation didn't fix everything, but it broke the silence. And sometimes, that's where healing begins. The next morning, Emma went to Lucas's cabin, but it was empty. No trace of him, except a single note left on the table. "Some people come into our lives to wake us up, not to stay." Emma read it again and again, until the meaning settled deep within her. Lucas was never meant to be her escape. He was her mirror. Emma returned home, where Daniel was waiting. Things weren't perfect. They might never be. But now, there was honesty, effort, a fragile, uncertain hope. And in the days that followed, Emma noticed something small but important. Her flowers were blooming again, not because her life had suddenly become easy, but because she had finally chosen to face it. And in the quiet town of Lakewood, the fog still lingered in the mornings. But for Emma Wilson, it no longer felt like something to get lost in. It felt like something she had finally walked through.